name is Peter Norman, and Peter Norman's first collection of poetry, At the Gates of the Theme Park, was published by Mansfield Press in Toronto in 2010. And there will be copies soon for sale on the table. And Peter was a finalist for the Trillium Poetry Book Award, and his new collection, Water Damage, was published by Mansfield Press as well in 2013. And his first novel, and you're crossing over to the dark side, Emberton, is forthcoming from Douglas and McIntyre in 2014. Please give a warm welcome to Peter Norman.
Thank you very much. Such a nice place to be on a cool night doing this. So my favorite Robbie Burns poem is exceptionally short. So I'm going to do it, but then also another one, so I'm not, under-tributing Mr. Burns. But my favorite one is called The Bookworms. Through and through the inspired leaves, ye maggots, make your windings, but oh, respect his lordship's taste and spare his golden bindings. And this one, as did Ayesha, I apologize in advance about the accent. I'm just reading it the way it's spelled and wildly guessing. To a louse, on seeing one on a lady's bonnet at church. Ha! Why are ye gone, ye crowlin' furly? Your impudence protects you sorely. I cannot say, but ye strunt rarely o'er gauze and lace. Though faith, I fear ye dine but sparely on sic a place. Ye ugly, creepin', blasted wanner, detested, shunned by sant and sinner, how dare ye set your fit upon her, say fine a lady? Gaze somewhere else and seek your dinner on some poorer body. Swith, in some beggar's half-it squattle, there ye may creep and sprawl and sprattle, wi' ither kindred, jumping cattle in shoals and nations, where horn nor bane ne'er dare unsettle your thick plantations. Now how'd you there? You're out of sight, below the fatrals, snug and tight. Nah, faith ye yet, you'll no be right till ye've got on it, the vera topmost tower in height of Mrs. Bonnet. My sooth, right bald ye set your nose out, as plump and grey as any grosset. Oh, for some rank mercurial roset or fell red smedden, I'd gie you sick a hearty dose as it would dress your drottum. Still going, actually. Almost there. I wouldn't have been surprised to spy you on an auld wife's flainin' toy, or ablin some bit dubby boy on's wily coat. But Miss Fine Lenardi, fie, how dare ye do it? Oh, Jeannie, dinna toss your head, and set your beauties abread. Ye little ken what cursed speed the blastie's makin'. Thy winks and finger ends I dread are notice taken. Oh, would some power that gifty gie us, to see ourselves as others see us. It would frae many a blunder free us, and foolish notion, what airs in dress and gait would lay us, and even devotion. I freely admit having understood a fraction of that, but the music speaks. So I guess between the bookworms and the louse, I've got a little bit of a creepy Crawlies theme going on. My first book here does contain one poem with a spider in it, although admittedly the spider at this point is neither creeping nor crawling anymore. But I thought I'd stay on theme for a moment. Do the one with the spider. When I was a kid, my parents, one of whom surprisingly is here, or unexpectedly, joyfully is here. I'm glad he's here tonight. That was a real footnote here. I'm very happy to see one of my parents is here this evening. Had a centralized vacuum system, and one day I went to the basement to discover that the bag had broken, and its contents were strewn about the room, and that was the inspiration for this poem, which is called What He Found in the Vacuum Bag. Dust. Great cotton candy wads of it. 3 paper clips. Human hair, his own and yours, intractably entwined. 5 cents in pennies. Veins and arteries of thread, bloodless, unpulsing in the dust. Crumbs of a meal you shared with him that night when hope stirred bravely in the candlelight in the sure flow of wine from a neck unstopped. Fingernail clippings, a pencil's tip, charred wick and chips of cork. Particles of sound, your chair scraped back from the table, voices the mounting crescendo, a busted thumbtack, a spider asphyxiated, molecules and atoms, a raveled mess, a brood of dissonances made one. Thanks, I was pausing for water, not for applause. So here's one more from the old book. It's called Three-Tone Electronic Fanfare. And what I'm trying to suggest with that title is a noise that would go a little bit like this. Boom, boom, boom. Attention shoppers. In 5 minutes we will close. The automatic sliding doors will lock without warning and beyond our control. Please bring your items to the front for purchase now. Your hours of browsing, stroking cans of soup with slender hands, bending to examine avocados, kissing parched sheaves of spaghetti are over. Proceed to the front. Your baskets weigh you down, bulbous with milk and pomegranate. There is no point in continuing now. We open at 8 tomorrow, then you may resume the spree and come back with double the yearning, or triple, we don't mind. Tomorrow is another shift, another crew. Admit the essence of your need. It is to hold the not yet consumed, fondle its bumpy skin, even to lay it in your basket, snug among cashews and corn. It is not the register's blip, granting you dominion with one brief syllable of assent, not the drive home, acquisitions colliding like dead wood in the trunk. This is the apex of your longing, here, regaled by our announcement, rolling apples in a fevered palm, craning to scope the undiscovered aisle. Here you are as glad, as fed, as ever. Proceed to the front. Thank you very much. So I'm going to do just a couple poems from my newest book and then finish up with a new one. This one is entitled Water Damage and came out last year. And one of the things, as we've heard tonight, that Robbie Burns was known for was poems that address a surprising recipient. So we got the mouse, and we got the louse, and we got the bookworms. And of course, he's really good at getting some sort of wisdom or humor or insight out of it. Whereas in this case, this poem is pure silliness. But it does fit into the tradition of addressing a surprising recipient. So I thought I'd give it a shot, give it a crack. It's called In Praise of the Top 3 Cell Phone Manufacturers, as determined by global market share in 2010. Oh, Nokia, noblest of providers, #1 by far in market share. Nokia, Finnish firm located in Espoo, your Siemens network's seminal, nabob nodular, Nokia. Samsung, second place in market share. Samsung, munificent and based in buzzing soul. Oh, juggernaut of gadgetry, purveyor of true pulse, sung is your glory, sung is your praise. Oh, LG, spawn of Ku In Hoi, titan too of soul, indeed life's good. LG, your logarithm rings, and we consumers cry, LG, LG, LG. In market share, you're #3. Lest you think this book is wall-to-wall silliness, I'll do a serious one. Anna did a love sonnet. This is perhaps, I guess, a post-love sonnet. It's called Marooned. We watched a jellyfish pulled into land, flexing in vain against the tide, a spectral sack with livid guts inside and tentacles that dragged along the sand. The ocean won. The jellyfish was hauled onto a bed of rock. Congealing there under the suffocating weight of air, it sagged. The guts went dim. I was appalled, but you suggested we should leave it be. The kids were swimming. Tentacles could raise a mighty welt. Besides, you said, it pays to let the sea administer the sea. We did. The kids were fine. The tide withdrew, marooning us with all its residue. so much, and thanks to you all for being here, and to McDonald for the wonderful piping, and the library for having us, and for these fantastic poets for sharing the stage. This last one I thought I would try for the first time, because one other thing that Robbie Burns excelled at was ballads. And I don't think I've ever written a proper ballad, and I certainly don't have one in either of my books. And I'm not sure why, but I think this might somehow spiritually be the closest kin that I've taken a stab at to the ballad. So whether I'm wrong or right, I'm going to read it. So it's called Demolition. It starts off as a true story and then rapidly goes off the rails into fantasy. Some houses behind our house were being knocked down for condos. Demolition. Come dawn, the backhoe budded and clawed, mauled roof and wall. Its tracks tore sod and clambered on hillocks of rubble. Rodents raced over wires and trees and chased one another and foraged for feed, and screeching expressed inexpressible need. By noon, the first of the houses was toppled. Another half done showed its guts, papered walls, painted doors, fixtures bolted to studs, drooping pink fiberglass failing to hide the shame of interior wrenched into X. Rooms where folk ate, shat, fought, and had sex, or picked at the rashes of some private pox, or watered and fed what had already died. Lunchtime, the cab of the cat was vacated. The hard hats retreated from sight. We all waited, we on the wires, in rubble, in cloud. Sunlight fell straight on the track-rutted dirt, and every last shadow was siphoned from earth, and nothing was hidden. From somewhere, a word in an alien language was uttered aloud. In the warped, broken shingles, a shrug. Then a crack as a snapped beam healed, went whole, nestled back to its nook, and the swatches of pink fiberglass furled into the walls, and the bricks in their heap with a sound like the rattle of pebbles in surf clattered up, one mounting the other, and found their old shape, and mortar congealed and held them in place. But when the workers returned at 12:30, joshing and sweating and set to get dirty, they didn't see anything wrong. They got right to work. They smashed and they tore, and the backhoe was belching and growling full bore in the voice of an ocean that's broken the shore, and by evening the whole row of houses was gone. We wrestled and chirped, we flirted and chewed the various morsels we gathered for food. And as evening deepened, we ran on the rotten and saw-savaged limbs, and the horror was heard of nothing at all, speaking no kind of word. Today, a miraculous thing had occurred, but we, like the crew, had forgotten. Thank you so much. Wow.